The recent mass shootings by a white supremacist in El Paso, Texas, and a wild-eyed leftist in Dayton, Ohio, have again revived discussion about whether the problem of mass shootings in the U.S. is getting worse. And the bad news is that the problem has indeed been growing at an alarming rate in recent years. I'm Tim Donner with 5 facts about the rise of mass shootings, defined by the FBI as public attacks in which 4 or more people are murdered, as opposed to gun crimes that happen within private homes. Fact 1. Mass shootings have risen more sharply than ever in the last 8 years. According to the Stanford Geospatial Center, through the late 1980s, there were no more than 5 mass shootings per year. Through the 1990s and 2000s, the rate fluctuated and occasionally climbed as high as 10 per year. But since 2011, the rate has skyrocketed, climbing first into the teens, then peaking at 473 mass shootings in 2016 and 323 last year. It should be noted that other studies suggest a smaller increase in such incidents, but the fact that mass shootings have risen in recent years is not in dispute. Fact 2. More than half of mass shootings overlapped with domestic violence. A full 57% of these atrocities included a spouse, former spouse, or another family member of the perpetrator. This means that a significant percentage of these mass shootings likely occurred in moments of passion, though of course others were planned carefully and executed with efficiency. Fact 3. The rate of mass shootings per capita in the U.S. is nearly 5 times that in other first world nations. This may be a product of how many Americans own guns. We are by far the most heavily armed country in the world, with more than 300 million firearms, nearly 1 per person, while the second most heavily armed country, Yemen, in the midst of a civil war, has 1 gun for about every 2 people. Third on the list is Switzerland, which has a gun for about every 4 people. Fact 4. 75% of the weapons used in mass shootings were obtained legally. There's a complicated matrix of gun laws which vary from state to state, so some guns which are legal in one state are illegal in others. And there is no way to know whether those who use legally obtained firearms would have resorted to acquiring illegal firearms to murder their victims, thus leaving open the question of whether more restrictive gun laws would have prevented any of these mass shootings. About half of the weapons used in these crimes were semi-automatic handguns, while the rest were rifles, revolvers, and shotguns. And that brings us to fact 5. In contrast to the U.S., the most heavily armed nation in Europe has not had a mass shooting since 2001. Switzerland has some 2 million privately owned guns in a country of 8 million people, and yet mass murders rarely occur there. The overall crime rate is very low, and the overall murder rate is near 0. Many Swiss view gun ownership as a patriotic duty. They take firearm education seriously, and every year they hold a national shooting contest for children from 13 to 18 years old, preparing young men for Switzerland's mandatory military service. The sickening sight of mass shootings occurring with alarming frequency leads us all to ask why. And everyone has their own theory on how to stop them. More restrictive gun laws, red flag laws that restrict Second Amendment rights for people who demonstrate dangerous mental instability, more expansive firearm education, or in the case of school shootings, arming security guards or even teachers. But no one can dispute that in the age of the internet connecting the whole world together instantaneously, the public is demanding answers. We hope you liked this and learned a thing or two. If so, please like and subscribe to the LibertyNation.com YouTube channel right there in the lower right portion of your screen, because truth is making a comeback. I'm Tim Donner. Thanks for watching.